Good morning, you strange and wonderful weirdos. I'm John.
And I'm Stacey.
It's Wednesday, October 26th. And here's why today is strange.
All right, so let's start off by talking about Katy Perry.
Oh my.
Yes, and her eye malfunction that she had on stage.
What?
Is very, very strange. There's a video going around and you can see her eye just closes, her right eye. Just completely straight closes, and then she touches her temple and it pops back open. Very odd. There's a lot of speculation online going around about what happened with her eye.
You know, the fact that there was an uncommonly crazy rainstorm with winds and everything just before air, and that was odd.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that our gigantic cat bit me like 6 times in a playful manner, that was odd. Mm-hmm. Katie's robot malfunction. That's not odd. That's, what do they use the term in celebrity land? Cyborg or
I don't know.
Clone.
I believe robot was one of the theories. Some people try to say it was a reaction to a COVID vaccine.
Yeah, Pfizer eye.
Yeah.
Right.
And, it's strange. It's because of the way she fixed it. It was just, it looks really odd. You know, she just touched it. Now, some people did say that perhaps it was her makeup and she was trying to fix her eye without touching it because she does have very big false lashes on. That is possible, but it's hard to see an eye go down so smoothly without closing the other eye. And she does say that she has a wonk eye.
Right.
And it is that eye.
You know,
but I've never seen it do that before.
I've seen beautiful blue eyes with wonk eyes before. They don't malfunction like that.
It was so weird. And she doesn't even say, she's still not said anything about it. Just acted like it didn't happen.
What's she going to say?
I mean, I'm not really sure.
Hi, I'm TV's Katy Perry. I'm sorry about my wonk eye.
Sorry, my robotics malfunction. I'm going to have that fixed.
If she hadn't
immediately
pushed the button.
Right. It was very weird.
I wouldn't even mention it. You know, I've had paralysis on half my face before.
You have.
Years ago. And then had to do one of these shows. And, you know, that sucked. Mm-hmm. But so I've got a lot of compassion for it.
Right.
Because I actually suffered with Bell's palsy for a 2-week period or something. Mm-hmm. And there was remnants for quite a while, you know? So I've got compassion for it.
Right.
But not any time during that did I push a button on my forehead and have my eye open and back up, you know? So.
Right. And another thing that was pointed out was, why didn't she close the other eye? So it didn't look so strange. Or why didn't she turn her head away?
Well,
instead of, people filming it.
If you're not in the moment.
I suppose. You're not on stage,
right.
I guess.
You're in front of all those people. Know. God only knows. So
True.
I honestly, I hope she's medically okay. Yes. And we're not making fun of her whatsoever. It's just weird.
We're just talking about how strange it was, the way it happened and the way it was resolved.
Yeah. Okay.
And then nobody's saying anything. So
strange.
All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about NASA. You know, we did talk about NASA doing their own UAP study.
Yes.
That started this past Monday. And so they have announced their 16-member team that they are going to have. And you'll see this story around in all the mainstream, because the mainstream's all about the UAPs right now.
They love it.
They love talking about it.
Can't get enough of them little green fellas.
When you watch those videos, the person that they mention on this team is Scott Kelly. Of course, he's the most notorious, I guess, not really notorious, but notorious. The one you've probably heard of because he's a famous astronaut.
He's the guy who lost bone density.
Yes, he spent like a year in space.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so he is part of the team, and it's very obvious why they would make him part of a UAP study team. Obviously, he's an astronaut, and he's worked with NASA.
I bet they did things to him up there.
But I did
time for my revenge, you little.
Oh no, it's Independence Day.
Yeah.
But I did want to mention a couple of the other people that were on the team that I thought were pretty interesting choices for this study. And now they've got your normal scientist, astrophysicist, like the gentleman that is the chair of the study. His name is David Spergel. And he's the founding director of the Flatiron Institute for Computational Astrophysics. Very smart gentleman. There is a woman on there. Her name is Anna Maria Berea. I'm sure she's fantastic. I just like her
Was
name.
Hannah Banana not
Apparently
available?
not. Apparently not. She does study emergence of communication in complex living systems and on data science applications and astrobiology. Yeah, exactly. But I like her name, Anna Maria Berea. One that I thought was very interesting was a woman named Paula Bontempi, who is a biological oceanographer, because the octopus are aliens. So you got to have that kind of person on your team. They are. So just people like that, very smart people. A lot of people that work for the FAA and do things with flight and policies and safety and things like that. There is one lady, Jen Buss. She is the CEO of the Potomac Institute of Policy Studies in Arlington, Virginia. She basically makes policies for very high-level government agencies like DARPA and the DoD and the Department of Energy, things like that. So somebody from
smart people.
Every sector, basically.
Okay.
The scientists, the policymakers, the astronauts. So this study is supposed to last 9 months. And at the end of the 9 months, they're supposed to have a full report containing the team's findings released to the public.
Okay.
Middle of next year.
Right.
So there you are.
Well, cool. Good for you, NASA. I mean, it's the Scott Kelly thing. That's the guy who lost bone density for staying up in space too long. The rest of them, they can just have whoever. They're looking at unclassified things that have been released. So the same videos we've all seen. I don't know what they're going to see that we haven't seen. Just because you've done some fancy schmancy law school degree freaking class, I don't see how that's going to qualify you for something we don't understand.
I don't know. I know that they're going to be focusing.
They need to get Jimmy from the trailer down the street.
They need people from Kentucky
that knew what he freaking saw. I know what I saw. Well, Jimmy, we're asking you to join us here on I Know What I Saw. You calling me liar? Where are you?
Jimmy gets things done.
No, Jimmy. No, we want you to help us. But I know what. Okay. Tell us what you saw. Oh, okay. We might need the law degree.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about a very cool finding in Israel. Okay. So this is about a medieval knight that left graffiti on King David's tomb 500 years ago. Isn't that awesome? Now, there are pilgrims that go to the Holy Land that visit King David's tomb. It's a site in Jerusalem that's associated, with King David from the Bible.
I would hope
and for
so.
Centuries, according to the experts in Israel...
I hate when they go with that other King David. Yeah. I did a pilgrimage one time.
Wrong King David?
Yeah. I was like, sorry. King David here in Oregon's a whole nother story.
Well, apparently people have been visiting the tomb for centuries and leaving marks on the wall. So they decided that they were going to start documenting what they found, all the graffiti, all the different marks. And they said they found more than 40 inscriptions, multiple language, but one unique name stood out to researchers, and that is Knight Adrian von Bubenberg. Yes. He did a charcoal graffiti that has name and a family emblem. Now, Adrian von Bubenberg is a Swiss military man and politician from the 15th century, and he is admired to this day as a Swiss national hero. There is a statue of him in Bern. He led an army and defeated this huge army that was much stronger than them. And there's lots of streets named after him, like a real national hero. And they found his name in Israel because he took a pilgrimage to see King David's tomb.
They won that fight because their knives had many more uses than...
They were able to switch.
They were like, oh no, it's Bubenberg and no Swiss. That's right. 14 uses.
They did say that Knight Adrian von Bubenberg's son, Adrian II von Bubenberg, also visited Jerusalem. So they're not sure if it's him or his father that did the signature, but it's very cool to have such a notable person on the wall.
I thought it was impressive
graffiti.
they found so many marks to hang on the wall.
Oh, very cool. All right, you ready to move on? Okay, so let's talk about a Swedish zoo.
Another Swiss.
Yes, in Stockholm called the Skansen Zoo.
Skansen.
They had to close the zoo for a while because the king cobra escaped its exhibit. Yes. So they had to search the premises for a highly venomous king cobra that escaped from its enclosure. And they discovered it on Saturday after the zoo was already open. So they had to get all the people out. And
they opened the zoo back up before they found the cobra?
They didn't know. It was already open. And then the cobra was missing. And then they had to evacuate like the area. And they nicknamed the cobra Houdini because he is good at escaping, I suppose.
He would be dead, Deanie.
They said that the search was ongoing on Monday morning, and officials believe that the snake was hiding somewhere in the back room far from the public areas of the zoo. So what happened was they had put him in this new terrarium, and he'd only been there for about a day, and he escaped through a light fixture. They moved him there because they hoped the snake would mate with another cobra in the exhibit, but apparently he was a little too timid, and he escaped through a light fixture and got away. Isn't that terrifying? I couldn't imagine being in the zoo and knowing that an extremely venomous snake could be anywhere.
I can't believe they opened the zoo back up without having the cobra.
Well, they didn't know. They didn't they didn't know he was missing, I don't think.
Is the zoo open currently? And
I don't know.
The cobra's not found?
I don't know.
At time of press?
At time of this article, I don't suppose he had been found, but it didn't say, it said they evacuated the zoo. It didn't say they let people back in. Okay. I'm sure they're very responsible. They do think that he's in the back, though, and not in the public areas. But, of course, they don't know where he is. So
I figured they were pretty neutral about the whole thing.
100% sure about that. Wow. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Las Vegas. There's a new production that's going to happen next month in Las Vegas called Brunch with the Dead. You can enjoy a meal with departed loved ones. This is going to take place at the Palms Hotel, and it's a production that's put on by Emmy Award-winning EP Shane Farley, and it's hosted by psychic mediums Reginald Lewis, Lorianne Manns, and Christopher Allen, and it's called Brunched by an Angel. And it's set to kick off at the Palms Hotel. And there's going to be a few shows every month until January. And where you go, I think the tagline is where VIPs dine with the RIPs, which is, I don't know about that. 272 guests will be greeted with a musical set and some brunch. And you're sat at several tables. And at some of the tables, they leave a space open so that the psychic mediums can, go around the room, sit. Perhaps you get a reading and speak to your loved one while you have brunch at the hotel. Brunched by an Angel.
Very deadpan performance.
I have no idea who came up with the name for that.
It's interesting.
It is.
Different.
And they say that you have very high probability of having a reading done for you, with 3 psychics walking around. And at least, you get to eat in the meantime. I'm sure it's good food. It doesn't say how much it costs, but you can just go online and look it up.
It's whatever it costs, it's not enough. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Hey, it's just like a gallery reading, but with food.
Yeah, no.
So there you go.
It's great. That's very intriguing.
It is. I don't know if they'll do it again. Well, I guess we'll see how popular it is this time.
I really want a video.
A video of.
I want to see this. Angel. Yeah. I want to see.
Well, you can follow those mediums on Instagram, so I'm sure one of them will have something.
Okay. All right.
Something.
Okay.
All right. So let's move on to our last story.
Okay.
This is about a grandmother who recently passed. Her name was Jody, and her granddaughter put a post up on Instagram saying that she went to her grandmother's funeral, and per her grandmother's wishes, they handed out to everyone little cards with Ouija boards in them. And all the little Ouija boards had little planchets. And at the top, it said, stay in touch. Or let's keep in touch. It said, let's keep in touch. And it was just a little joke by this nice woman who decided that's how she wanted her funeral to go. She wanted her whole family to have little Ouija boards to keep in touch with her after she passed.
So
she's going to use those too.
So how many demons do you think were lined up outside of that funeral home trying to pretend to be the little old granny? You remember the big bad wolf in Little Red Riding Hood with the gear? That's all I see is a bunch of demons outside with like the bonnet on and me.
Yeah, it's dressed up as grandma.
It's gonna be me. Get out of the way, Beelzebub.
They're like, what was the grandma's name again? Okay, yeah.
Leave me alone, Israel. I've got this one.
Thank you, darling, for bringing me back.
Yeah.
Well, her family thought it was hilarious. Just a fun little gag. Apparently, she was a very fun woman in life, and she thought that would be a fun way to...
to possess the family?
Yeah.
It's her last... That's
absolutely.
That's a long game. That's a long game. She's been a witch for 40 years. She's like, I know what I'll do. Put Granny in a home, eh? Wait for it, eh? Keep my house ready for the day, eh? Well, you know what I want?
It's like gangster granny.
When you get old, you become very 30s gangsta.
I guess so. See?
All right. I do see. And that was some really crazy...
It's crazy stuff today.
See, this is what happens when I start out with the wonk eye.
It just goes downhill
Yeah.
from there.
And we're apparently having a hurricane. So
Clearly.
I guess that's why today is strange.